This is Mona Lisa Baseball. Welcome to the show.
All right.
All right.
Pretty happy to have you guys back.
It's good to be back.
It is good to be back.
You two are coming in with some serious enthusiasm towards the Giants.
Well, I will say just first of all, the vibe with the Giants is super cool with Buster Posey in charge. The thing that I've been repeating is I like saying Buster Posey's Giants. And the vibe at the ballpark, I think, really shows that. It is really fun.
I've been calling
went
them
to a-
Buster's Big Boys.
Yeah, I went to a game with a couple buddies at the beginning of the year, and it was such a blast. Like we were rolling around, went to different seats, and we had just had such a good time. They were promoting the Brandon Crawford game when I was there. We walked by the Jung Hoo Crew, and it was lit. And so we decided to get some tickets in like the Jung Hoo Crew, and they like give you a shirt when you show up. It reminds me of like the Lincecum Kane marketing where $1 off per strikeout from their previous one. You know, it's like kind of stuff like that where it's just like, dude, I miss stuff like this, you know?
Yeah.
And the vibes are just super high at the park. And I do think part of it is for sure because they're good. And that definitely helps. Like if, we had
That's
started
a lot
bad. Yeah, if we had started bad, who knows if it would be like this. But I don't know. With Buster Posey in charge, I like to believe that it would be pretty high vibes.
Fun when your team's good, and that park remembers what it was like 10 years ago, 10 plus years ago, and they're eager to get back to that feeling, and you can feel it in there.
Yeah, that is a noticeable. People want the team to be good, It's like,
And this is a noticeable different vibe from last year, you'd say?
Yeah, yes, 100%.
Yes. Last year we were battling to flirt with above 500. And we'd get up there and then come back down, and we had guys to be excited about, but that's when Jung Hoo got injured also early, and he was like one of the biggest dudes that we were hyped on. And he's hitting in like the 320s right now, pretty far into the season.
Something, yeah. And he's playing every day. I like having guys that like him, Adames, Chapman. They just play every day, same position. It's like they're in the lineup, and they're good and they're fun, and it's the vibes are good right now.
It's fun to have a good baseball team.
Yeah.
The park is so much fun when your team's good. And baseball is different than going to any other sporting events. It might be me, like it might be in my head, but it's just so much fun when you have like a team that's just like some games over 500 versus like a basketball team or a football team. You kind of need that result at the end. But with baseball, a little more than other sports, there's more of like a ride. I think it's probably because there's twice as many regular season games.
When we talked last, had the pitch clock been implemented already, or was that like 1 year in?
Okay, so yeah, we were a month in, and I hadn't talked to either of you.
Yeah.
And just tell me everything, good or bad. And it was some pretty interesting results. A9 was pretty down with all the rule changes, and I gotta say, you had such a different mindset on them than I did, because I needed to hear those things. When I first had the idea for season one of the reasons why it was going to be so great in my mind was everyone's going to agree with me and they'll all see what I'm talking about. And you go, yeah, this is great. This is great. And then it's been like a 99% different experience. And you spoke to that where you're going, baseball's great. I got a 2-year-old nephew. I want baseball to be for him like it was for us, where we're excited. It's not this ship that's sinking. We're fired up. Yes, I can deal with this. Yes, this might actually make it better. And I was listening going, wow, this is not what I expected. A10, not so fast. This sucks. And then you'd get started talking about it and you'd get even fired up hearing yourself talk about how tough this is. And it seemed like your main position was, why would we have to fix something that's not broken? We got you guys on record for the rule changes, which is going to be a lot of fun tonight to kind of recheck in about how you're feeling about such things. But this is great. I don't pretend to follow the Giants anymore. The first guy you brought up, Jung Hoo or Jungle?
Jung Hoo Lee,
nothing.
dude.
I don't have a thing on this guy. Why don't you enlighten me and the audience about who the hell we're talking about?
Okay, so the Giants have been trying to get, like a free agent. They've been struggling for a while. They got this guy out of Korea. He was basically Korean MVP. I think the year that he came over, maybe previously too, he was young. He came over at 25. He was last season, and he's 26 this year. And, he's kind of high contact, high average. He's a great athlete.
His favorite player is Ichiro, and it
Yeah,
shows.
yeah, he's also number 51, and he's the center fielder. He separated his shoulder diving into the wall for a catch last year, like 37 games in, kind of as he was starting to heat up. And he has just kind of exploded. And he really, when we played in New York, we played against the Yankees, he basically won 2 games by himself. In one of the games, he had 2 home runs off Rodon, the guy who was on the Giants a couple years ago. And then he had another home run in another game that we won too. And so basically, since it was in New York, he kind of popped off since then on the national scale. And yeah, he's really fun. And so the Giants have set up his own cheering section
Yeah,
in center field.
the Giants do a promotion.
It's the weekend home games.
The
Okay.
Jung Hoo Crew, where this section in center field, they give you a shirt with like his likeness on it, kind of, that says Jung Hoo Crew, and you get your shirt with the ticket. You put it on, and then your job is to lose your mind anytime that he touches it or it comes up, including like routine flyouts.
Yeah, it's legit. It's legit.
Yeah.
My first game that I went to this year, I walked by and it was just like immediately like, I need to be, I need to experience that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was at a game early last year before he separated his shoulder, making that amazing catch. But they already had the chant going. Like, first week of the season, they were already doing the chant.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is something, man. This is going to be something.
Right.
And then poof.
Crowd took to him immediately, sounds like.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where it's just like, him and Adamas too, who's actually been struggling a little bit at the beginning of the year, Willie Adamas. He's like a big shortstop that we just got. It's like both of them just have, I know it doesn't mean much, but they just have like really good vibes. And
that's not nothing.
Yeah, it's hard to quantify, but I think it does like mean a lot, It's noticeable. It's like they look like they're having fun playing, a game essentially.
Yeah, I mean, if you are at a park and someone just makes you feel like you want to be excited, and it happens to one fan, that's going to rub off on more fans. And there is something to that. It's not just ones and zeros.
When the guys in the dugout are showing that they're having fun a little more than like other times, like sometimes you'll get teams that are like even good teams that are hovering just like a little over 500, where it looks like everyone is just clocking in and clocking out. They're just doing fun stuff a little more, and they're winning. And so it's more fun to go. It's more fun to watch. And they give you hope that like even when you're down 4 runs going into the 7th, they can pull out.
We can make a run.
Which makes it more fun to watch.
Yes. I would say this is the best Giants update I've heard in so long.
The coaching staff with Bob Melvin's coaching staff, it's like...
Is this his first year or second?
Second year.
Okay.
Like Matt Williams is on the coaching staff. Pat Burrell, where you're just like, dude, you can see Matt Williams at third base. Like, are you kidding me? All the time. It's just
great.
Yeah, it's just like stuff like that. It's just the vibes are super high. To go back somewhat to the pitch clock, I will say, I watch a lot of baseball games on TV. Watching the games on TV, I like the pitch clock. For as many games as I watch, I do like that it kind of flows. It keeps going. It's like they're over at a pretty reasonable time. The at-game experience, it is a negative.
Yeah, what's no good when you're there?
I mean, you got to do a lap every game you go to. And so it's like we do a lap around the stadium, get a beer, walk around. It's like now with the pitch clock, sometimes you'll get back to your seat and it's like
it's a rad
2.5 innings.
It's a rad park, so we're doing laps.
Mm-hmm.
We walk around the whole stadium, and it used to be just like 3/4 of an inning or whatever. And now it's like 2 innings, which sucks.
Yeah, maybe try and go sneak away and smoke a joint or something over on the side. Like, you only got so much time to do this stuff.
When you're at the park, the only time it was a bummer when it went too long is it went into extras, and it's like a weeknight or something.
And you got to drive back to Santa Cruz. It's like...
Yeah, it's like an hour and a half drive home for us. I mean, like, and you'd think that would mean it's cooler that it's shorter, but I want to be there. Like, I don't know. It's when I'm going to a baseball game, it's always been like I'm signing up to like get home, around like 11 or something, and I'm gonna go to bed, and it's gonna be a little tougher tomorrow if it's a weeknight. You have a little less to drink, you plan accordingly, but you have a night at the park. When it's too quick, it's like, all right, we're done. We've been here for 2 hours. We did our lap. That was half the time.
Yeah, I think we're all used to having a really long baseball live experience,
Yeah.
I wonder if your guys' ideas about suspending the pitch clock for the playoffs has evolved at all since last we talked to you.
Still against the pitch clock in general,
I
personally.
think it should be out for the playoffs.
Yeah.
I still don't want it. While I'm at the park, I don't need it to be 2 hours, but I also don't need it to be 4. I want to spend some time there when I'm there, but like when I'm watching at home, the 4-hour games are like, all right, let's go. I'm in for it to be faster, so you incentivize guys to not just screw around on the mound and do all that stuff. I hate, though, anytime there's a ball or a strike called when none of that happened.
You said that last year.
Yeah,
You said that almost verbatim 2 years ago. Almost verbatim, those exact words. Hate. You go, what do you mean there's a strike called? It's that we have to play baseball. You start at 0-0.
yeah,
Right?
make the guy, I don't know. Do a thing where there's warnings or something, and there's a warning, and then it's like a balk or something. I don't know. I just hate when there's balls and strikes.
They're going to do the 3 challenges. Do you know how many challenges it's going to be? Do you know what the specs are on that? Like what the minor league thing is?
Okay. During spring training, they did challenges. They only had 2, though.
Like per batter?
2 for the game?
No, per game. And if you're right, you keep it.
So as an entire team,
Yes.
you only get 2 challenges in the box on a strike or a ball.
But if you are right on the challenges, you get an infinite number of challenges. As long as you're right,
okay,
you just
so
keep
if
challenging.
you just keep being right, then you just keep getting them?
That's how it worked in spring training. In the Atlantic League and stuff, they were testing it with 3.
I thought the minor leagues are doing that because I know a lot of the guys that are coming up, they'll have it. Like they'll almost inadvertently do the little helmet pad. And it's like it fucking drives umpires nuts, and I kind of love it.
Major League Baseball conducted an experiment. They A/B tested the full robot umpire for the whole game, and they tested the appeal, and the one that fans and players seemed to like better was the appeal. So that's the result of the experiment.
I kind of like the appeal. I kind of dig the vibe of it. I've seen a couple of clips of it on the internet where it's like, even in big moments, you can like appeal. You save those obviously for big moments. Like you're not doing that in the first inning. There are some times, as we all know, where it's just like, yo, that was the worst call as you can obviously see. And it's just like, bro, I'm appealing that and you get it. It's
right. They showed on the Jumbotron.
Yeah, exactly.
They show a big 3D ball going through a 2D box.
Do they?
Yeah.
With a spinning camera, and it's got sponsored by T-Mobile on it.
Are we at the point where that goes Jumbotron in the stadium?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a PlayStation graphics in the sky.
Right.
Yeah.
Does it look the same as how if you're watching a tennis match and there's a challenge, how it's kind of
Pretty much.
I would say the tennis looks way sicker. The tennis is way cleaner. Like in the most recent last couple years in tennis,
it's a 2-dimensional situation.
They've got like
tennis is landing on. So it's a little easier because they're just hitting the ground.
Either hit the line or it didn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Versus a 3-dimensional box.
Right, but they model the strike zone as the 2D plane at the front of the plate.
That doesn't make sense because any breaking ball, if it's coming around the far side, could catch on the back side.
I know.
Yeah.
And guess what? Guess how they find out how tall to make the box?
Yeah.
They have data from looking at batters historically.
Why would it not be per batter that comes up?
And guess what? They've already had a bunch of bugs where they've loaded up the wrong profile for the wrong guy and the strike zone was wrong. And, they're still working out the kinks here. But what about a guy who changes his stance mid at bat? It's like, you can't do that anymore. They're going to make it illegal because eventually somebody's going to start doing it to trick the robot.
Yeah, I know.
One of the ways that guys are getting around the pitch clock too, there's a couple different ways, because you said trick the robot, it reminded me. They're opening their hat and they're being like,
pretending their
hear.
pitch comm doesn't work. Yeah.
They're like, my pitch comm doesn't work. I can't hear it because they're limiting mound visits for the catcher to come out. I can't hear anything. And he just takes the time. The ump comes out and is like, what's going on? Like, I can't hear it. And they do this stupid little dance for a while. And then he's like, I got
now
it.
I can.
We're good now.
That is so disgusting. And I know that A1 is surprised because he hasn't sunk in that PitchCom is like universally used by all pitchers and catchers now.
Right. I don't know that has hit me. The main thing I was thinking was, yes, let's make sure baseball is more like soccer. The more faking we can get
flops.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
There is a wrinkle to the pitch clock that I didn't see coming that I actually think is kind of funny. is
Bring it.
the crowd for pitchers that are taking a really long time and they're pitching right at like the end of where the pitch clock is. The crowd is picked up on counting down loudly.
Mm-hmm.
The crowd starts doing a count as like the pitcher standing there in their windup, just like looking, waiting for the
4,
clock to come down. The
3,
crowd will start counting down.
2.
And because the nature of a crowd is chaotic,
Yeah.
it's either going to be too short or too long every time. So they've effectively screwed up pitchers. 8, 7, 6, 5, and it's messed pitchers up and gotten calls. I forget what game it was. Like
Yeah,
it
It happened to
one
Robbie
time.
Ray for the Giants.
Yeah, they used to do that for free throw shooters in the NBA that were known to take more than their 10 seconds.
They
Yeah.
do it for Giannis because he takes
right.
11 seconds every time, and so they count him down a whole bunch.
The first time I'd ever heard that conversation come up about baseball is too slow, they were talking to Tom Glavine about it in the 90s, and he kind of had this puzzled look on his face.
And he goes,
Well, I don't ever remember one time my whole life going to a baseball game wishing we could leave. And I remember going, yeah, plays for the Braves. I hate him, but he's got it nailed. And what we're talking about, and thank you for bringing it up, A9, is it's just, that's not the conversation. It's only television. What works best on television. We're done with what's best at the park. Although I'm loving this t-shirt thing.
Yeah.
The vibe of you show up at the park, bing, all of a sudden you have something to be excited about. So you can't say it's dead, but in terms of the people that run baseball, no one's looking at how's the experience better for the in-person fan.
Last episode I was on, I called the pitch clock era of baseball the let's get this over with era
Mhm.
of baseball.
Mhm.
I remember that. I still stand by that. But yeah, they're not worried about what it's like with the fans. They changed the bleachers. The bleachers are seats. The seats that used to be classic aluminum, like when you think bleachers,
Yes,
it's
those.
it's just flat aluminum, cold on your ass,
Right.
Uh-huh.
but like you're still happy to be there. So maybe it's so cold you're standing up most of the time.
So what is it now?
They got rid of all that. Now it's covered in plastic, so there's like butt imprints, and it's about 2/3 of the width. So they did it to probably add ticket sales, add seats in.
Mm.
They squeezed it all in like sardines, and you can't sit there comfortably anymore
No.
In the bleachers.
unless there's
Yeah,
open
well-
seats in your row.
Yeah,
And
there has to be an
everyone's
open
kinda
seat in your row.
Everyone's spilling over into like seats that aren't theirs.
Mm.
And that's what happened with us. Generally, like people are up and about. When we were there, I was actually sitting on the end. We had an end seat, so that's why the Jung Hoo Crew game was really fun. But I was so furious when I first realized this was happening like a year or two ago. And I'm still mad about it, but I had a really fun time last time I went to the
Right.
game because we were on the end and there were people that weren't there. So like everyone was able to scooch over.
So naturally the question would be, if you can't have your ass in the butt imprint, is it still comfortable if you're half on, half off?
Yeah,
no.
I was straddling. I mean, it's okay.
There we go.
I don't
Also,
know.
no,
I didn't think it was
it's
that
not
bad.
comfortable. There's a butt imprint thing, and then there's like a groove where there's a plastic
Mhm.
divider, and then another butt imprint. So if like you're sitting on the divider, which I also did one of the previous bleacher games I went to, it's really uncomfortable. Like just give me back my cold aluminum
Baseball.
bleachers.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it's like the Little League Park bleachers, like just
Right.
give me that back.
We all know how to sit on those
Yeah.
and be fine.
The first game we went to this year was up in the nosebleeds because I'm like, we're not getting bleacher seats, even though those are the coolest place to sit typically. But like the Giants are really good, so it's going to be packed. And I'm not going to have the situation where I'm sitting in the middle somewhere, everyone's in their seat, and I'm shoulder to shoulder, squeezed in between one of my dudes on one side and some stranger on the other. So we had to go sit up in the nosebleeds.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Okay.
This is not an improvement. I do not approve of these new bleacher seats. We're looking at a picture of them.
No.
This doesn't make sense. They're chairs. They're like chairs without backs.
And you know what you can't do? You know what
They're
sucks?
narrower.
The other ones
Yeah.
were flat. They're almost designed. You can't fucking set a beer on the
You
seat.
can't.
You like
my-
have to set it on the ground. It's fucking bullshit.
So you're gonna kick your beer now. You gotta buy another fucking $20 beer.
Yeah.
it's more dangerous to step on them. Like they're not,
Yeah.
it's not flat. So like you've had a few beers, you're moving up the bleachers, you're going to roll an ankle and get pitched into the concrete underneath them.
Yeah, it's an inferior design for sure.
I know. I can't tell you how many times I've set down my beer on the golf course, went to hit a shot, go back to grab it, and it's on the ground, drained. You go, what? Oh! It hurts. I could see that happening here. You look away for a second half, like, beer, where is it? Where is it? Oh, $12 later. Go get another one.
Yeah.
$12. You know what? They actually do have cheaper beers now.
When you're out there and it's a late game, we're in extras, they're cleared out, and you just got a bunch of flat spaces around you. You're moving up, you're standing up on the bleachers. I have some very fond memories of them being cleared up, and it's like, I'm not leaving. It's the 13th, and Pablo Sandoval hits a clutch little dinker through the gap, and now I'm going home happy. I don't know. I hate these bleachers. I hate them. I absolutely hate them. It's probably going to be nosebleeds for
Interesting.
a lot of the games I go to now, because it used to just be bleachers. It was the coolest. It was.
I don't know. The last couple times I've been in the nosebleeds, though, like people will actually have like kids up there and stuff, and like there's twice I've been kind of like, hey, like you can't be swearing, and it's just like, dude, I'm gonna be swearing in a baseball game. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. The bleachers are like no questions asked. If your kid's here, they're getting some F-bombs.
You brought your kid to the bleachers. It's a party. It's like I'm there to watch the baseball game. I'm not quite as young as I used to be, but there's going to be a bunch of like mid-20s folks really drunk. But as long as everyone's nice, it's just an unbelievably good time. And now the seats really suck. So when your team's really good and you want to go the most, or if you want to go to a playoff game, it's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. There's no room. There's no room to sit.
If I'm being honest, most of my playoff games are standing room only.
Right.
SRO, baby. And then you got to get at the cable car. They have the bench that faces the field. If you can get there, you basically have a seat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As A9 is displaying, when your team's good, it fixes a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, whatever, I'll go somewhere else.
They're doing lots of ticket deals. I see it. I get the ads. They're not pretending that they're sold out every day, anymore. They got tickets for $5 now, and they're proudly advertising the $9 beers. So it's like Coors Light, though.
Yeah, and it's a 12-ounce only.
Really? Yeah. For $9.
Right. So what's the price of the fancy high dollar? Where are we at on that?
$21, $24 for a pint of good beer. Is that right, guys?
No. They have that little Irish pub over on the side. The Guinness was like $16.50.
Guinness. $16.50, right.
I mean, they're not 20s. Yeah, they're not over 20s. And then the other beers, we got a couple of the spaceships, like the Coors Lights with the lids.
Yeah.
And we talked the nice lady into giving us the lids so that we wouldn't spill them. Those were like $13.50 or $14.50 or something.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that I have paid $21 for like a craft IPA.
I remember that.
Right. And I just assume it's more now.
At the Anchorstein there, which is no longer there.
Right,
the Anchorstein thing is no longer there.
What?
No, they went under. Anchorsteam's done.
I know, but I thot there was some rich guy was going to save it or something.
Yeah, that was supposedly going to happen. Sapporo killed him. And there was some rich guy who said he was going to save it, but I think he's jumping through some shit. But
Bummer.
The stand that was there in center field is no longer there.
Okay.
But I have gotten like a $20+ beer at that stand before.
I know they exist. I've seen it on the receipt.
Yes. No. And in the playoffs, I think I played for like a tall can $24 one time.
Playoff pricing is in effect. God.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Okay. I would love to know your opinion of Ohtani getting 50-50. And everyone's showering him with unprecedented, that word coming up a lot, with the new stolen bases rule. Did that mean anything to you? Did it seem cheapened, or was it just like, yeah, whatever, he's amazing?
He's amazing. I hated it because he's on the Dodgers.
I mean, he's amazing regardless.
Yes, we can all agree on that.
Yeah, I do think it's somewhat cheap. Like, could you imagine if Ricky Henderson had this thing? No. He would have had 200 stolen bases, maybe. Like
infinity.
There wasn't that caveat. Like, people weren't like, oh, he got the 50-50, but
no one said
we're 2 years in. Yeah, I never heard that but. And I wanted to hear, like, yeah, but we're 2 years into, like, it's way easier to steal bases now if you're really good at it. Mm-hmm. Because pitchers can't hold you on as much. The coverage of all of it has been kind of annoying because
Right.
everyone was way too on board except for like old retired baseball players that were like, oh, I don't really like all these rule changes. All of the media, all of the people with big microphones, they were all like, I love it, I love it, I love it. Until Manfred came up with his golden at bat rule that he floated. And then everyone was like, you dumbass, this is too much.
He stole that from the Savannah Bananas. Okay. He didn't come up with that. He's not that smart. Don't give him that much credit.
I know. Yeah. Have either of you gone to a Savannah Bananas?
Negative.
The tickets are like $160. I was looking at it going when they came through town, and it was like $150 to go see him. And it was
Wow,
like,
I've heard the owner say how much he reinvests and keeps it cheap for the fans. So not exactly.
$150?
I looked it up, and when they came through here, it was when they were doing bigger stadiums because they were selling out like actual baseball stadiums.
Yes.
I know the first one they did was in Houston. They sold out the whole stadium, and then they started doing a tour around some of the other stadiums. And yeah, that's when I tried to go, and unfortunately, it's too expensive.
I've got no interest in going
Yeah.
to see the Savannah Bananas.
I mean, I
don't
totally
know.
go for like. I mean, dude, I think that'd be super fun. I wouldn't pay more than $50, like, but I'd pay $50 to go see them and just go have some beers and watch these goobers do their thing.
Yeah, see it once.
Like with a
Silly
group of
little
people,
show.
it'd be super fun.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. There's just enough baseball games.
Yeah.
Like I could go to a normal baseball
Right.
game
Yeah.
during the season. There's so many. There's too many to go to. I don't like hate that they're doing it. It's still like bringing new people to baseball, I guess. Sort of. I don't know. I don't think about them at all, really. I'm not that interested in going. I don't love it. I don't hate it. It's kind of funny that it's happening. A lot of it I feel like is going to be weird and like not that interesting when you're there because it's going to feel so contrived.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been kind of likening it to, and I haven't been yet either, but sort of a Rocky Horror Picture Show. People that go to do that, there's like a script. They know when to recite certain lines and experience, so they're kind of like involved in the ballgame in a new way.
Yeah.
Is kind of what I've been gathering, and that's why they like it so much. It's not quite rehearsed, but it's kind of getting there almost. Maybe.
I think they do set pieces where they go back and forth between playing real baseball, banana ball, and then they do like scripted things like the guy in stilts comes up to bat. They're not throwing 90 at that guy, okay?
Have you seen the thing where they do the black light
Yeah.
and they have the glow in the dark stuff?
Yeah.
No.
Holy shit, dude. It is cool.
It's like, well, you've been atomic bowling. It's that, but with baseball.
Dude, it's dark and they have black lights and it's like a highlighted ball. You know, it's one of those things where when you're just looking at it on your phone, you're like, how do they even see it? But I'm sure when you're there and your eyes kind of adjust, maybe it'll work a little bit better, but it's still just like, whoa.
Outfielders say it's easier to catch fly balls playing that way because you can just see the ball perfectly.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. And if you just trust that the ground's good, obviously, you know, it's just like, hell yeah.
Yeah. A9, are you worried at all that you won't be able to boo with as many expletives towards the ump once we get into erasing the umpires from the game? Is that something that comes up in your mind at all?
You know, being a former umpire, I don't really direct it as much towards umpires for like 10 years. There's always part of me where it's just like, we've blown it multiple times. I usually direct my ire towards the other team's outfielder, you know, just calling him a bum and stuff like that. My usual only loud bitching at games is sometimes towards the other team. Like when we were chewing out, what was his name? Crone over on first base for the Rockies when we were down on the dugout level. Remember that one?
That's the last Giants game I've been to.
Yeah, like him and the first base coach. Like that's more fun. But I don't know, umpires, they all suck. Whatever.
Yeah,
they do all suck.
Yeah.
Well, we had another umpire do a perfect game, call a perfect game this year.
You know, even that's arbitrary. It's just like they say they call the perfect game.
That's...
Like,
it's based on the best available data that we have. But you're right.
Yeah, I've seen some of those. Yeah,
I buy it. I buy that they did a really good job. perfect game's kind of weird because that's like
Only a pitcher can
that's
throw a
a
perfect game. Miss me on
that's
this
a
umpire.
that's a hollowed term.
Well, the idea is he never made a bad ball strike call. He was perfect for that.
Yeah, I understand.
And that's impressive.
He was 100%.
There was one of them that did it in, I think, like the World Series.
Yeah, Hobart, and
last
he's now
season.
no longer an umpire. He got caught up in a betting scandal.
Right? Wasn't he caught for gambling or
Gambling.
something?
See, it ruins you, everyone. Stay away. Even like the best umpire in the whole MLB got taken down because he was stupidly betting on sports. And he had this elaborate excuse. Like, oh, it was my friend, and I loaned him my thing, and it's like,
Yeah, it was just college football. Ugh.
yeah, it's like it works if you're Shohei Ohtani, you can weasel out of things, but yeah, nobody knew who Hobart was except people like me.
Yeah, I was impressed you knew his name.
Well, we talked about him on the show, and then the scandal happened, and we never talked about that. So
Yeah, I was gonna say the one replay I saw from spring training, A2, you sent it to us. It was 2 outs in the ninth, and a guy got rung up, and they do the replay.
He appealed the call.
Oh, he appealed. That's right. He does a tap. All right.
Yeah.
So they go to the tennis replay, and it shows that it was like a quarter of a stitch outside.
Right.
And the whole crowd goes like, oh, hell yeah, he gets another pitch.
Right.
He did it. He did
Good
it.
call by the umpire. It was like right on the line.
Yeah, right. Okay. So then the next pitch comes in. Take. Umpire rings him up. Strike 3. And the guy's like, well, the game's over unless I tap my
Might
helmet.
as well. Might as well appeal it.
And then it's the identical thing. It's maybe 2/3 of a stitch outside.
Mm-hmm.
And the main thing that went through my mind is I'm not crowning anyone involved for what they saw or didn't see. Like, to me, that's a strike.
Yeah.
But I seem to be the only one that thinks that. It's like,
no, that's hitting the black, baby.
like a batter shouldn't swing at that. Is that what you're telling me? A batter should take that pitch?
If it's that close and the guy just doesn't swing, and it's just like, oh man, you got to protect.
You got to protect. What
Take the
happened to
bat off
that?
your shoulders.
Yes.
Foul that off and get a better pitch. I don't know.
I feel like I'm in Little League right now. This is all the stuff that they told us back then. I mean, that's all I ever heard.
Right. And I think it kind of holds true where baseball or MLB was getting a lot of flack for not enough action on the field, not enough action. And that starts with that sort of mindset of get the bat off your shoulder. And I think that's still real. But once it became the home run culture and it just became your pitch, you need to get a ball to drive. We don't care if you strike out. Put it over the fence. Or if you don't, we don't care. Try again next time. Schwarber batting 198. It's fine. It's fine. We don't need you on base. Put the ball over the fence whenever you can. That kind of started this ball's not in the field trend. And so if the pitch is a 1/4 inch outside, I think you ought to be swinging. But once that came out, umpires are getting graded on a perfect game. They all had to rein in their own strike zone, which I think is a reasonable thing to do.
Yeah.
But pitches an inch on the black to just straight up be like, those are no longer strikes. That does change the game quite a bit.
Especially if there's movement. If there's movement
Sure.
back towards the plate, it's
Right.
like that could be hitting towards the back end, you know? And it's
Yeah,
just
but
like,
you also had umps reaching out and calling that a strike at one point, and then not for the other pitcher,
Yeah.
or only at one point during the game, and it irked a lot of people.
Yep.
Because they were unable to be consistent also.
Mm-hmm.
Or the batter chirped at them and their ego got in the way, and so they rung them up on something that was, a little outside, which also irked a lot of people because they're supposed to be neutral.
Maybe you shouldn't
impartial.
whip at the umpire, though. I mean, like, come on. Like,
Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't what?
Don't be mean to the umpire. Be nice to the umpire. Like, who,
Oh, yeah.
what
Yeah.
is this about?
Yeah, there's also some part of it too where it's just like, bro, you got to be smart enough to work these guys. They're just
Yeah.
people too, It's just like,
Yeah.
Well, not anymore. They're going to be robots.
Yeah.
you can't just be showing them up like some kind of asshole, It's
No,
like,
and you have to grant them their humanity to a degree, or they're allowed to be upset if you're rude to them. But I think the players are allowed to be more emotional because they're actually competing versus an impartial judge. You grant them less humanity than the players. The players can get emotional and argue a little more than the ump is allowed to.
Yep.
Reasonably. And when umps do it, it irked a lot of people, and like, now we're here. Well, that's not the only reason. It was a part of it. That, and they're also real bad because their union's too strong, and they're not judged by a meritocracy. They're judged by getting in by who you know, and then they do a real bad job for a whole career. like Angel Hernandez.
I knew that name would come up.
He's not calling games
No.
anymore. He's out.
He's
I
not
know,
calling games
he-
anymore. It's who's the other guy who's taking over for him now? Laz Diaz.
He wasn't even the worst guy.
According to StatTrack.
Most famous for being real bad.
Yeah, who's the worst this year?
Laz Diaz is his name.
I heard him making fun of that guy, but you know what?
You know,
It's like-
they're not all that. You know, it's just I don't know.
we're gonna get ABS Challenge next year, you guys. So that'll be in MLB next year. There you go. And then they'll just expand it from there.
Is it after this year? Or is it after next year with a collective bargaining agreement?
December 2026.
Not this upcoming offseason, the
December
following one, correct?
2026.
Yeah.
Okay.
Year and a half.
Right.
So after next season is when there's probably going to be a lot of stuff that comes up. There's a solid chance they're going to hold out through spring training at least.
Yeah. A9, you predicted 2024 we would have ABS. So that was a little early, but I was astounded how nailed you had the A's situation of you think they're going to Vegas not so fast.
Yeah.
You were saying not so fast, and we were going like, no, I think it's a done deal. And you're going like, nah, I don't know. Wouldn't call that a done deal. And you're still spot on.
I mean, I don't know. It
Here's what I
theoretically could still not go through, but it's looking more and more that other people in the MLB are now pushing for it to kind of happen.
They don't want the calamity to continue much longer. They've-
This is a
they-
joke right now. Also, I want to go to a game in Sacramento.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't care about the A's all that much, but like to go see the Yankees in like a minor league park would be so funny and such a weird
So intimate.
situation.
I'm an hour 40, so I'll meet you guys.
It's about the same for us. So we'll message you when we're thinking about going.
The Yankees are probably right out. It's probably going to be playoff pricing. The
Yeah.
tickets are so expensive in this tiny little stadium.
They can't sell that place out. Dude, they're not selling it out.
We should see when the Pirates go. See if Paul Skeens is going to game. That'd be a good one to try and see.
See Skeens.
Super down. I was going to say, if we're worried about tickets, we'll go see the dipshit Marlins and we'll be fine.
Yeah, let's go sit out on the grass, you guys. Like, just chill.
I'd be down to
Or
do that.
the Rockies.
Yeah, the Rockies.
Ooh. Yeah, why are they so bad?
In my fantasy baseball research, we now have this thing where you can keep two young guys. And so, like, I was looking up, and the Rockies, I guess, have a lot of young guys that are supposedly coming up. A couple good pitchers and the other guys. But, yeah, I think they're going to potentially, you know, the White Sox lost like 120-something games last year, broke the record. They could push that.
Yeah, we'll see. It's still early.
Wait, the White Sox actually broke it?
I forgot they did
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I thought they almost broke it, but didn't.
No, they
But
did.
That was the A's from the year before.
They got it. They got it by a game, I think.
Last minute, they were able to pull it off.
They did it.
They did it.
The last game of the year.
They beat the 62 Mets. Ah!
Yeah, they lost like 10 straight. They lost out the year.
So my dad tells me that Ryder is a straight baller.
Dude,
Shoot.
so he plays in
Absolute shoot.
a T-ball league.
Who's Ryder, guys?
He's 3.
Who's Ryder? We got to know.
He's our nephew.
Okay, thank you.
Our nephew.
He's our nephew. He's 3 years old.
Great.
It's a league for 3 to 6 years old. He's gotten to the point now when he comes up, the other team has to be like, big hitter, back up, kids. Big hitter,
3-year-old?
back up. And he'll, 3-year-old. And he'll rope it off the tee. He'll set up like a fence in the grass behind the majors field, which let me tell you, going to his games and just being able to sit in the outfield and then turn around and have there be a Little League Majors game going on and watching from the outfield there. It's just been, we went and immediately they have at Live Oak Little League, they got the LO hats in orange and black. And it's like, we went and got one of their hats. And it was just like, dude, I miss Little League. Like,
As he was growing up, there was a lot of over at Grandma and Grandpa's house. And every time he was over, Grandpa's just like, you're throwing this ball, you're chugging this ball. Yeah, I'm giving you this little kid's bat. You're hitting it off this tee. And he's gotten so good where he's 3. I was outside with him the other day playing with a normal baseball. I'm rolling to him and he's fielding it. He picks it up and I'm like 25 feet away and just hammers it right into my chest like every time. My glove's popping from this 3-year-old throwing this baseball at me.
Wow.
It's
Showing velocity early.
My dad kind of had it at disbelief. He goes,
yeah.
this kid, he didn't even have words for it. He was just, this kid, Ryder, whoa.
Anytime he has a lazy throw, it's like, hey, what are you doing? Right to my chest. Come on.
yeah. I think on his team, he's not allowed to throw it to first because
Yeah, because kids don't really pay attention. He could hurt
he'll
someone.
wing it in there. I mean, he can't even.
He
catch.
he rolls it, and then he'll look at me and be like, "I did it! Like I got it first." And you're just like, "Nice, bud."
Does he have a little
You
glove?
did what you had to do.
He's got a little Giants glove.
Mm.
What I'm hearing from both of you is I don't think you guys are worried about the future state of baseball whatsoever. Sounds like we're sailing right ahead. There's more shit coming. You'll deal with it.
I'm very interested to see what I was asking about the collective bargaining agreement. I'm super interested to see if they're going to try and force like a salary cap or maybe at least a salary floor on some of these teams to make them try and spend more. I was literally just reading an article yesterday about how the Dodgers payroll, and this is with Ohtani only making $2 million of his technical
Right.
20 fucking year goddamn contract that he signed. He's only making $2 million, but their payroll this year is like $469 million, and they're playing the Marlins, and their payroll is only 68, and it's like the largest. It's like a $400 million payroll gap, and it's like the.
It's more because the Dodgers have two guys that with deferred, two huge contracts with big deferred money.
Yeah, and so with both Snell, it could be right now up to like 550 or some ridiculous shit. And with the Marlins, their payroll's only like 68 mil or something, and it was like the largest payroll gap by a mile. Yeah, I'm very interested to see what's going to happen. Who's going to push for it and all that stuff.
I am worried about the future. I'm worried that they're going to keep changing rules. Absolutely. I mean, I'm not as out as A1 and some of the other guys because it's too fun to have a good team. It's too much of my identity to like have baseball games on, even when it's just like on in the background. So I can't let that go. But I'm super worried.
Yeah.
Last time I was on, I said I think it's going to plateau. I think they're not going to make any more rule changes.
We probably jumped all over you.
Yeah, and Manfred went on to make a whole bunch, just kept going, didn't stop. Another couple years, just like new stuff, culminating in this magic or golden at bat rule or whatever, where that he finally everyone was like, all right, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Oh my God.
Trick the robot.
Your job is to lose your mind.
Wow.
Nice, bud.
And they do this stupid little dance for a while.
Big hitter, back up.
Why would we have to fix something that's not broken?